What is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be going over how to edit faster if you play Fortnite with a controller. Editing speed is an aspect of Fortnite that I believe is really becoming more and more important as time goes on. A specific part of the game that good players have really started to master is piece control, and for that to work, it's basically a requirement to be able to edit not only very quickly, but also to be able to do multiple edits in a row without messing up. Now obviously that's going to be a lot easier to do on mouse and keyboard, and it's why almost all the top piece control players use that input, but it's definitely still possible to edit really fast on controller, and hopefully this video will be able to help you guys do just that. So without further ado, let's get right into it. But before we get into that, this video today is sponsored by Advanced Club. Advanced Club is a Fortnite tips and tricks based website designed for every skill level player, and unlike other tips and tricks websites, they actually have content from the best competitive players in the world, such as Bizzle, Booga, and Mr. Savage, with other top players and coaches coming soon. I personally watched some of the courses they have, and it really is super high quality, well produced stuff. So if you're looking to take the next step as a Fortnite player, especially in competitive, I'd highly recommend checking them out, and I'll be sure to leave a link to the website in the description below. Alright, so one of the things that you need to understand about editing is that it's by far the most important and effective skill to practice in creative mode. When you look at aim, for example, even though aim training courses are super helpful, don't get me wrong, something that's very difficult for those training maps to emulate is realistic player movement. That's something you really need to play against actual players to practice. Same deal with building. Free building is great and all, and it does definitely help you improve mechanically, but build fights revolve around reacting to and countering the builds of another player, so it's not like you can just become the best builder on the planet by just free building for 3 hours a day. But when it comes to pure editing speed, on the other hand, which is what this video focuses on, creative mode practice courses are really all you need. It's not like there's any kind of major difference between editing a wall or a floor in creative mode versus doing it in a real game. At the end of the day, it's almost exactly the same thing. I believe that it technically is possible to become a really great aimer or a really great builder just by playing regular games, but I strongly believe that isn't the case with editing. So the first thing you need to do that's an absolute requirement if you want to become a faster editor is to get in the habit of spending at least a little bit of time each day doing a creative mode editing course. Doing courses to improve editing speed is basically the Fortnite equivalent to lifting weights to get stronger. Are there other ways you can do it? Yeah, I guess so, but pretty much everybody agrees that those other ways are inferior, so why even mess with them? I've talked about this in previous videos about how to improve mechanics in general, but most of the smartest minds out there agree that consistency is way more important than long grind sessions. It's better to practice your editing for 10 minutes a day than to do a 1 hour long session once a week or whatever, and the best type of editing practice in my opinion is constant double edits, which Raider464 basically popularized when he put in all of his maps. These constant double edits over and over again are the perfect way to improve editing speed since it's just constant practice. As I like to sort of joke and say, but it really isn't even a joke, you'll probably do more total edits in 30 seconds on one of Raider's courses than you would in an entire hour of playing regular Battle Royale. So the best training routine and practice to edit faster is really as simple as that. Now let's get into some specific mechanical tips to help you edit faster. The first one I want to share is something that really helped me edit faster back towards the beginning of Chapter 2. At the time, I recognized that editing was a real weak part of my game, so much like you guys, I was looking for tips to improve it, and one of the things I stumbled upon was to really focus on the first and last tile of whatever you're editing. I actually remember after hearing that tip, I did something that I thought was kind of smart. I went into a creative edit course, edited for like 45 seconds straight while recording the whole thing, and then I slowed down the footage to like 25% speed, and I specifically paid attention to the edits that I messed up. And what I noticed is that almost every edit that I failed was because I misclicked either on the first or last tile. And specifically with the last tile, which seemed to be my biggest problem, I would always press the confirm edit button too late, causing the crosshair to go past the last square, and that would obviously cause the edit to fail. So as soon as I saw that, I made sure to focus a lot more on clicking correctly on the first square, and then not clicking too early or too late when going for the confirm on the last square. If you can successfully do that, the squares in between the first and the last one will follow suit most times, and you'll find yourself messing up edits less frequently, and in general, just editing faster. And speaking of crosshair travel in between the first and the last tile, this is also a good time to mention trying to minimize your crosshair distance when editing. I talked about this more in depth in a previous how to edit faster video from like 8 or 9 months ago, but it's still super important, so I'll quickly repeat it in this one. One of the easiest ways to become a faster editor that takes less talent than improving your raw speed is to actually decrease the total distance your crosshair travels when you're making an edit. And this can be showcased very simply with a picture that I put together in Microsoft Paint in like 20 seconds. In this example, you're doing the same bottom 4 tile corner edit, and even though both of those theoretical edit paths are dramatically different sizes, they would do the same exact edit at the end of the day as long as you press confirm. Obviously though, the larger path would take significantly longer, while the shorter path would be much quicker. On single edits, this probably isn't a huge deal, but when it comes to double and triple edits especially, which people really love, a lot of the time, if your crosshair paths are too long, it adds up with each edit and causes you to edit a lot slower and also mess up more edits. And I think the last 2 tips really play off of each other to some degree. If you focus on good crosshair placement with the first and the last square specifically, that almost guarantees that you're going to have shortened and efficient editing crosshair paths. When you practice, you want to keep both of those things in mind so you can build good habits, and then hopefully when you've done it enough, it becomes second nature to you. And the final thing I just want to briefly touch on at the end of this video is the role that sensitivity plays in editing faster. Obviously, the higher sensitivity you use, the higher your ceiling becomes for fast editing, but that doesn't matter if you can't control your sensitivity. And honestly, I think the value of high sensitivity for editing fast is a bit overrated. I think that a player that has really efficient crosshair pathing while editing but uses a 1.5x editing multiplier, they would still be faster than, say, a 2.0 editing multiplier player with inefficient crosshair pathing. And on top of that, using a sensitivity that's too fast and you can't really control, that makes you way more prone to messing up edits, and that obviously totally kills your editing speed because it causes you to redo them. So at the end of the day, there obviously isn't any crazy secret that's going to make you edit any faster overnight. It all comes down to being consistent with practice, and while doing so, focusing on building good habits with selecting the first and last squares and making sure your crosshair travel distance is as small as possible. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down in the comment section below. Bit of a random question here, but since this is about editing, who do you think is the fastest Fortnite editor in the world? Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.